Concert in the Sydney Opera House at 8 years old, and today she is the Australian #1 touring pianist. Please welcome to the stage award-winning virtuoso pianist Vân Anh.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. How are you all? Are you a bit burnt like I am? What a wonderful, wonderful place we stopped at today. Did you all have a good time? Yeah, thank God we stopped, right? Well, it's my great pleasure to be here with you tonight. I come from Sydney, Australia, and I come from a very, very musical family. And for me, classical music is something that I grew up, I could say literally before I was even born. I'll go into that a little bit later. But classical music is something I'm so passionate about, whether it's playing in a concert hall, on a cruise ship, or in a platform that you wouldn't usually hear classical music. Now, I play original classical compositions or pieces that fall into the category that I just played then, which is classical crossover, a genre which was coined maybe about 10-15 years ago. And I truly think that this genre is going to keep young people coming into concert halls and also introducing the classical repertoire to them. I'm going to do something a little different now and play a tune that was in the top 40s. I can't say recently, it was probably 2009, 2010, that stayed in the charts for so long. It's by a big diva by the name of Beyonce, and this tune is called Halo, but we're going to do it in a way which is very orchestrated and probably in a way that you've never heard before. break, and what I really want to do is take it right back to where it all started for me, which is pure classical music and solo piano repertoire. When I said I came from a musical family, I have a father who is a classical guitarist who graduated from the Saigon Conservatory of Music in Vietnam, then became a teacher there. I have a mother who studied Western opera at the Saigon Conservatory of Music, and then they both moved to Australia, and then subsequently had me, my sister and my brother, and we all went through music tuition through my parents, then on to other teachers. Now, we all learned piano as our first instruments, but we all were coached to learn second instruments as well. So I learned the cello, my sister learned the violin, my brother learned the guitar, and as a family, we would perform together around Australia, and we were nicknamed the Vietnamese Von Traps. Now, they are very fond memories for me. That was the foundation of it. And as we grew up, we kind of moved and relocated. My sister now lives in Madrid. I reside half of my year in Los Angeles and the other half sort of around Sydney and other places as we drift on these ships. And so those opportunities with my family to perform together are very rare. But straight after this cruise, for me, I get off in Bora Bora, and this is really exciting for me, is that I get back to Sydney, and the very next day, I go back to the Sydney Opera House and I play, and I get to bring my family onto stage with me and perform together. So we have a reunion concert, which is extremely, extremely exciting. But for me, that classical music in the house all day, every day, that stemmed from my parents. And this composer I'd like to play next is someone who, as a pianist, you cannot go without learning and playing. His name is Frédéric Chopin. He dedicated his entire life, although very short, only 38 years, but he dedicated his entire life to writing music literally only for the piano. So I'd like to play for you the Minute Waltz. Now, the Minute Waltz is probably the most well-known waltz that Chopin wrote, and a few people always, especially students, they say, why is it called the Minute Waltz? Is it because we play it in a minute? And I said, no, not at all. If you played it in a minute, you wouldn't be able to waltz to it at all. It's actually, the reason why it's been nicknamed that is because it's very petite and very light and graceful, and that was one of the styles that Chopin wrote. The other style, which... Unfortunately, I'm not doing a second concert, but the other style is something so much more heroic and patriotic. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chopin's Minute Waltz. Thank you. My parents really encouraged us to have a very well-rounded education, and this not only having a passion for music, they wanted us to feel completely comfortable with our peers at school. So in Australia, sports is something that is extremely important and extremely sort of in the forefront, and so we were sent to tennis lessons, to soccer lessons, to gymnastic classes, to then after school going to maths and English tuition to make sure we were right up there with our grades. And then after that we would go and do, my mum loved visual arts, so she would send us on Friday afternoons to visual art classes, to floral arrangement classes, God forbid. She truly believed in not ever leaving us with any free time. But that was really just something that was part of our life. That was just how it was. And I really appreciate that now, because we were never forced into choosing music as a career. We just happened to fall in love with music, and my siblings also have followed through with that career path. Now, apart from all those extracurricular activities, there was something else that we did, which was dance. And of course, we went through everything: tap, contemporary, jazz, ballet. And ballet for me was my true love. And at the age of 12, my mother took me aside and she said, Vân Anh, I need you to decide whether to take ballet or piano more seriously. So as a 12-year-old, I naturally said ballet. And she asked me why, and I said, well, Mum, you get to be on stage, get your hair done and your makeup done and be in a pretty tutu, and you have the spotlight on you. And she said, okay, that's all well and good, but let me tell you one thing, and I will let you redecide. Redecide. Did I have a choice? She says, Vân Anh, if you choose ballet, I wholeheartedly support you. However, look at it this way. As a dancer, your career will probably end on that stage when you're about 30 or 35, because that's just that natural progression. As a dancer, the younger dancers will take your place. But if you choose piano, on the other hand, no bias whatsoever, look at these great pianists like Ashkenazi, like Martha Argerich, like Rubinstein. They're 60, they're 70 years old, and they're still on that concert stage touring the globe. So I changed my mind. And I don't regret that decision whatsoever. However, there is a huge part of me that still wishes I was that ballerina. And so now as an adult, I go to adult ballet classes, nowhere near as flexible, but I become fully aware as to why, how important it is that the marinating of dancing and music is. And I can apply both skill sets to one another. Going to ballet, you're so much more alert than music, listening, your graceful movements, and then knowing when to move, when to do certain steps, and vice versa. With playing the piano, it's not just playing and pressing the keys, it is that movement, that graceful movement that you can apply, and really trying to be one with the instrument. So I've chosen these next two pieces specifically alluding to ballet. The first was not written for a ballet, but it is so passionate and so romantic that it's been extracted. It's the 18th variation from the Rhapsody on the Theme of Paganini by Rachmaninoff. And this particular piece has been choreographed so often for different ballet dancers. And then the second piece is the intermezzo from the Nutcracker Suite. Now, this, of course, is written by Tchaikovsky, and this particular piece originally, of course, is for orchestra. But Mikhail Pletnev has rearranged it for piano, and he's done such a brilliant job in trying to emulate the sounds in the orchestra. You'll be able to hear, and this is what I try to convey through this instrument, is starting off with the light plucking of the harp, and then adding the string sounds, and adding the layers of the horns and the woodwinds and the percussive sounds later on, all on this instrument of 88 keys, which I think is truly, truly a magnificent instrument. So ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy my little tribute to ballet. welcoming back the Amsterdam Orchestra with a big round of applause. You know, playing music by these great composers, there's so much that goes through our head, you know, trying to keep the integrity of these composers, trying to understand where it came from that inspired them to write this music. There's a lot of stuff going on, but playing your own music, for me, is a whole different ball game, and it's also probably something that is probably the most petrifying thing for me, because it's really very personal. For me to write music, something has to happen in my life. It's like having a diary, and instead of writing things down in words, for me it's putting it into notation and then into sounds and making it music. So I'd like to share with you this piece. A couple of years back, I was coming back from a big tour in Europe and finalizing an album, and I had written a few pieces, but I wanted one that reflected on my childhood. And, you know, growing up in Australia, I'm very thankful for it because my parents were Vietnamese refugees coming to Australia. And so very, very humble beginnings, but they never made us feel like we lacked anything. And I really appreciated that. And little things, now as an adult, you kind of reflect and go, oh, you know, they said toys were a luxury. Didn't really understand what that meant, but it was just extra things. It was all about, you know, exactly what you needed, just the bare essentials to get you through school and then good grades and all that sort of stuff to set you up. So I sat there on the plane on this long haul flight back and I reflected on that, and something funny popped into my head. We had toys, we had Monopoly sets, we had doll houses, we had all sorts of things, but there was one thing that I never had and all the girls in primary school had, and that was a My Little Pony. Now, it's funny because My Little Pony is still a huge phenomenon now. It's still trending. All the girls still have it. It's turned into an app, a game on the iPhone, so it's still happening right now. But I decided to write a song. I still hadn't had a pony, a unicorn, I guess, at that time. So I decided to write this song entitled Unicorns. It is not a sad song. It is actually quite a happy and spirited song, and I really feel like it's got this charge which reflects on sort of where I'm at with my career at the moment and my aspirations to keep spreading classical music out there. It's written in a style that is very much influenced by the lush chords of Chopin and Rachmaninoff, but also by the great film scorers like Hans Zimmer, John Williams, Ennio Morricone. I am a massive fan of film music and that sort of orchestration. So ladies and gentlemen, this is really a piece of my heart for you. This is Unicorns. Thank you. mentioned before, one of the real reasons I write in this classical crossover style and I really push at it is because I used to teach a lot of children before I started touring a lot, and I would see them come in, their parents would bring them in, and they were really excited to learn the piano, and then a couple of years go by and you start to see a few dribble off. Who in here has played the piano or has learned the piano? Quite a number of you. Who continues to play the piano? Yeah. And it's really something that I fought with because I could see them enjoy it to a certain point, but I know it's very hard to connect with these children. It's not music that they listen to on a regular basis. So for me, I tried to bridge that gap. And this next piece was one of the first ones that I rearranged in this style. I hope you will be able to recognize what it is. I won't tell you what it is, but I'll give you a clue. It is by a multi-platinum award-winning artist, singer, I should say, female singer, who comes from the UK. So I'll quiz you after this. Adele, Rolling in the Deep, of course. What an amazing, amazing, and inspiring and young artist. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I come to my final piece that there's a bunch of people who I would not be able to do tonight's show without, and they do this every night for us guest entertainers and the cast as well. Sound and lighting, the boys backstage, and of course the Amsterdam Orchestra. Please join me in thanking them. Now, have you had a good time tonight? Awesome. So like all guest entertainers, I will be back on deck 4 here with a bunch of merch. I have two very, very different CDs, one purely classical and one purely classical crossover. So please come and say hello. I will be back there signing them. It's really quite easy. You just hand over your cruise card and it's basically free, right? When you do that. It's actually just $20 or 2 for $40. I know, I'm Asian, I'm good at maths. Ladies and gentlemen, my final piece is by a composer who I absolutely love. And if you went to the production show, not that slide, but the one before that, I forget the name, the dancers danced this wonderful and passionate dance to this particular piece. I wish they were here to dance here with me. It's a piece by an Argentinian composer by the name of Astor Piazzolla. And this particular piece I've rearranged in a way, again, in that symphonic, cinematic orchestra style. This is, of course, the Liebe Tango. So thank you so much for coming tonight, and hope to see you at the back there, and have a wonderful rest of the journey. Thank you and good night.
Starring the tale, it's Vân Anh, incredible virtual pianist, Vân Anh, Australia award-winning, world-renowned pianist.